Hi, welcome back to Storyline. In today's video, we're diving into a thought-provoking film that follows the poignant journey of Professor Richard as he faces the challenges of a terminal illness, complicated family relationships, and the search for meaning in his final days. So grab your snacks, settle into your comfiest chair, and prepare to be immersed in a deeply emotional story. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest recaps. And remember, check the outro for the movie title. The film opens with a heavy, life-altering moment. A doctor solemnly informs Professor Richard that he has lung cancer and only 6 months to live. The doctor explains that, although a grueling treatment might extend his life by another year and a half, the process would be painfully arduous. Rather than subject himself to such suffering, Richard makes the difficult decision to forego treatment, choosing instead to live out his remaining time on his own terms. This crushing diagnosis casts a long shadow over his life, and as the news sinks in, Richard is overwhelmed by the stark realization that his time is far shorter than he ever imagined. Deeply saddened and reflective, Richard decides it's time to share the heartbreaking news with his loved ones. That evening, during a family dinner, he gathers the courage to tell his wife, Veronica, and his daughter, Olivia, about his terminal condition. However, the moment takes an unexpected twist. Just as Richard begins to speak, Olivia interjects with an equally shocking revelation of her own. She confesses that she likes girls. This candid admission, though brave, catches everyone off guard. Veronica, perhaps dismissive of the situation or overwhelmed by her own feelings, fails to grasp the gravity of Olivia's news, which leaves the young girl hurt and confused as she storms out of the room. The familial tension escalates later that evening when Veronica drops another bombshell. She admits to having an affair with Henry, Richard's boss. This revelation not only deepens the fissures in their already strained marriage, but also sends Richard spiraling into a state of bitter introspection. The heated argument that follows underscores years of accumulated resentment and unspoken truths, as Veronica departs in a fury, leaving Richard to face the raw pain of betrayal and loss. The following day at college, Richard's disillusionment with the academic environment becomes apparent. In a dramatic display of discontent, he dismisses a group of students from his class, criticizing them for caring only about grades rather than the true essence of learning. Only a small, dedicated group remains, and Richard assigns them a thought-provoking book. He explains that if they discover something new and meaningful from it, they will earn a, if not, a B will suffice. This unconventional lesson hints at his belief that education should be about growth and understanding rather than rote achievement. That night, seeking solace from the day's emotional turmoil, Richard meets up with his longtime friend Peter, who also happens to be the college chairman. In the quiet ambience of a dimly lit cafe, Richard confides in Peter his desire to retire early, a notion that initially seems out of character given his lifelong dedication to teaching. Peter, curious yet concerned, asks why Richard is eager to leave his career. At first, Richard tries to mask his pain by claiming he merely wants time to write a book, but eventually, the truth emerges. He reveals his terminal lung cancer. Peter's heart sinks at the revelation, and Richard pleads with him to keep this devastating secret. Back at home, the personal drama intensifies. Veronica and Henry engage in a conversation about a new prospect. Veronica might start working at the college. This suggestion only deepens the emotional wounds, as Richard confronts Veronica about her extramarital affair, insisting that while they are free to do as they please, it must remain hidden from Olivia. The family dynamic is further complicated when Olivia returns home accompanied by her girlfriend. Witnessing her parents inebriated and embroiled in conflict leaves her distraught, and she retreats into silence and sorrow. The next day, in the midst of his chaotic academic life, Richard experiences another unexpected encounter. During class, a student named Daniel offers him a cigarette, a gesture that seems out of place in a lecture about life's fleeting opportunities. Not one to be swayed by such trivialities, Richard instead directs the class to introduce themselves. The first to speak is Claire, a bright young woman who casually mentions that her uncle is Henry, the very same man Richard harbors deep animosity towards. The mention of Henry's name causes a noticeable tension in the room, and Richard makes it clear that he disapproves of Henry, a sentiment that Claire surprisingly echoes. Looking for a change of scenery, Richard then announces that their next class session will be held at a local bar setting that promises to be both unconventional and liberating. At the bar, amid the clinking of glasses and the low hum of conversation, Richard shares his life philosophy with his students. He urges them to embrace every moment, reminding them that life is fleeting and that the inevitability of death should inspire them to live boldly and authentically. As he speaks, a friendly waitress approaches, and Richard can't resist engaging in playful banter with her. Later, when he retreats to the bathroom, the brief intimacy he shares with her becomes the subject of whispered speculation among his students, an incident that underscores Richard's unorthodox approach to life and love. As the narrative unfolds, we witness a complex interplay of relationships and personal struggles. At home, Richard shares a quiet dinner with Olivia, a moment of tentative connection amid the chaos. Soon after, Veronica returns, and Olivia's eyes brim with unshed tears at the sight of her mother. Sensing the need for healing, Richard gently encourages Veronica to apologize to Olivia. True to her word, Veronica offers a heartfelt apology, marking a small but significant step toward mending their fractured bond. In a series of subsequent events, the film interweaves both academic and personal dramas. A promising student, Rose, delivers a book talk in class, and despite Richard's apparent distraction, he awards her a well-deserved A. Shortly thereafter, a minor yet symbolic argument erupts when Richard criticizes a pillow crafted by Veronica. When a student reminds him that it was, in fact, his wife's creation, Richard defends his right to express his opinions freely, highlighting the undercurrents of domestic discord that have long plagued him. In another unexpected twist, Daniel visits Richard's office with a peculiar hemp cake and inquires about his romantic experiences. When Richard admits that he has never been with a man, Daniel, who is openly gay, suggests exploring this uncharted territory together. Intrigued by the prospect and driven by a desire to experience life fully before it slips away, Richard agrees, demonstrating once again his willingness to embrace the unconventional. Elsewhere, symbolic moments continue to punctuate the narrative. Veronica's uniquely celebrated pillow becomes a quiet metaphor understood only by her and Henry, while Olivia's struggles with her own identity and her relationship with her mother come to the forefront. At a faculty dinner organized by Henry's wife, Richard's rebellious spirit ignites. In a dramatic confrontation, he exposes Henry's duplicity and challenges the very foundations of the college's leadership. His passionate speech, where he reveals his terminal illness to a stunned audience, serves as a cathartic release, underscoring the urgency of living a truthful, authentic life. Following these tumultuous events, Richard finds himself in increasingly fragile health. At one point, while attending a birthday celebration at Peter's home, he begins coughing up blood, a grim reminder of his deteriorating condition. The sight does not escape Olivia's notice, adding another layer of emotional complexity to an already strained family dynamic. In one of the film's most moving sequences, a weakened Richard asks Peter to take him to church instead of the hospital. In the quiet sanctuary of the church, during what turns out to be the final month of his life, Peter expresses how much he will miss Richard, sharing an embrace laden with unspoken words and deep sorrow. Later that night, while Olivia seeks solace at a party, Richard and Veronica attend a faculty dinner. Amid the festivities, Richard even shares a contentious kiss with Henry's wife, a bold act that, while stirring controversy, further exposes the tangled web of relationships and betrayals. The emotional crescendo of the film arrives as Richard, in one of his final classes, implores his students to seize every opportunity and follow their dreams, no matter how arduous the journey may be. He reminds them that every moment is precious, urging them to live life to its fullest. In his office, as he feels the weight of his illness bearing down on him, Richard makes a final request of Peter. Instead of another hospital visit, take him to church one last time. As the film nears its end, the narrative shifts to the home front. Olivia, devastated by the revelation that her girlfriend has cheated on her, finds herself in tears as Richard offers words of comfort and gentle advice about love and self-worth. Determined not to let his final moments be a public spectacle, Richard decides to drive away with his faithful dog by his side. Arriving at a fork in the road with two diverging paths, he pauses at the crossroads, symbolizing the many choices and paths his life could have taken. In a silent, deeply introspective moment, he ultimately decides not to take either road, leaving his future uncertain. That's it for today's recap, my family. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life and struggles of Professor Richard, please like, comment, and subscribe for more thoughtful and engaging content like this. And as promised, the movie we just recapped is Richard's Final Lesson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, and keep enjoying great films.